Hi, I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a retired financial advisor and now the host of Best of Us in Retirement. And what I want to do here today is explain to you a privilege that you have that will give you the opportunity to make whatever you need in retirement if you'll do a few things. And that's what I want to talk about today. First of all, your privilege is that you have the privilege of being able to invest in some of the best companies in the world. You have the opportunity to own Google, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Microsoft, even Tesla. You have the right to claim ownership in there, and it's pretty much a risk-free ownership. What you have to do, though, is accumulate the money so that you can invest in them. And then I'm going to show you something here in just a minute that's going to show you a guaranteed way to supplement your retirement income if you will do what it takes to get to the position where you can invest in some of the best companies in the world. And that's what I want to do today. So let me show you this graph, this chart that I have created that will explain the stock market to you in total so that you know that you can invest your money, you know where to invest it, and you know how to gather the money such that you can become very comfortable in your retirement. Okay, here we go. Take a look at this chart. This is a chart I created that tracks the stock market from the day I was born. And that was September 5th, 1944. And you can see here that I have listed, first of all, that the stock market is driven by events, and I show them in red. The first event in my lifetime was the end of World War II. Why is that significant? Because Europe was destroyed, and the United States became the superpower that manufactured everything that Europe needed. We built a navy and we became a superpower. We also patrolled the seas to make sure that the goods and services that we shipped to Europe were safe. That's the first thing. Then we moved forward and the U.S. got off the gold standard. What that did was make it available for our government to print whatever money they need to finance the stock market. And that's in blue. That's that blue line. The red and green jagged line is the S&P 500. And I want you to notice that the S&P 500 moves in parallel with the U.S. debt. You can see that another event was that the internet and the digital revolution. And as you can see, that was quite a spur to the S&P 500. And we can see that the S&P 500 got out of touch with the amount of money that was available to finance it. So we had a correction. And you can see that that red and green line came back closer to the blue line. And then we had what was called the subprime crisis, where real estate got out of whack. And again, the S&P 500 got out of closeness to the money supply. That's the blue line. Once it did, it started moving right up. The next event was that of e-commerce. That gave birth to Amazon. The internet revolution back there gave birth to Apple and Microsoft. And then the next event in red was the social media and mobile phone. That gave birth to Facebook. The next one was the data revolution and the artificial intelligence, which also then gave us the EV revolution. That gave us Tesla. Now you see where we are. If you go all the way back to 45, the money supply, the national debt, was $251 billion. It's ran on a pretty even keel until 1990. When it jumped to 3.2 trillion. It took us then another 4 years to go to, 10 years to go to 4 trillion. Then we had, as I said, the e-commerce revolution and the dot-com bubble. So the government cranked up the presses. And we went from 4 trillion to 8 trillion in 8 years. And then from 8 trillion to 18 trillion, an additional $10 trillion in another 10 years. And then we had the coronavirus and the relief programs, and we went from 18 trillion to 20. And then in the last year, 2020 to 2021, we went from 20 trillion to 28 trillion. All in the effort to finance the growth of our economy. Now, the important part of this is once you understand how it works, you can understand how you can participate in it. Come back over here where I show you the average return on the S&P 500 for 10 years is 13.6%. For 100 years, it's 10%. And for my lifetime, it's 11.46%. So if you had invested $100,000 in the S&P 500 over the last 10 years, it would have provided you an income growth of $13,600 a year. That brings us to where we are right now. If you're 25 and you're saving for retirement, all you have to do is figure out how much you want or need in your retirement and then accumulate that amount of money multiplied times 13.6%. So if you determine that you need $136,000 extra money every year in your retirement, then you just got to accumulate $1 million. That's all there is to it. That becomes your task. What I'm telling you is you have a very unique privilege that you don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. You don't have to be the entrepreneur of the decade. You have the right to invest in their companies. You have the right to invest in Jeff Bezos' success, Bill Gates' success, Steve Jobs' success, Elon Musk's success. You have a right to invest in them. And history tells you the worst you'll do if you invest in them cumulatively is a 10% return on your money. You just got to determine how much money you need to have the life you want. It's right there. It's not that complicated. It's just that most people don't take the time to figure it out. Most people, my generation, the baby boomer generation, we were not in the mindset to accumulate wealth. We were in the mindset to accumulate cash flow. And it's with that cash flow that we bought all our stuff that don't give us a return on our investment. So I'm challenging you. If you want to have the best part of your life be the most worry-free part of your life, just accumulate some wealth. If you want an annual income of $136,000 a year in your retirement, then accumulate $1 million. Just get out and work and save and do it. And the way you'll do it is as you're accumulating it, you'll invest it in these companies. I would encourage you to not put it into the 500 as S&P 500 as you're collecting it, but instead invest in the companies that are going to change the way you live in your retirement. And those are, if you'll look to the far right part of the chart, up there in red, it's the healthcare revolution, the supply chain revolution, and the metaverse. And then be aware of what's going on in China. Particularly if you're young. If you'll keep those 4 items in your sight and you'll learn about them, go into the description and find the books that you need to read to become astute in the area of investing, as I have, and you'll be able to become a multimillionaire. You will be able to put yourself in a position where money doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it costs, because you're making 13.6% on your money at a minimum on an annual basis. Now, will there be corrections? Of course there will be. So you've got to also manage your money. You have to hold a cash reserve such that if there is a downturn in the market, number one, you can buy into it when it hits the bottom and accelerate your return on investment, and you can survive when the income is not coming. So this is a privilege that you have as an American citizen. All you have to do is understand it. I would suggest I'm going to put this chart back up on the screen, and I would suggest you stop the video and you take a screenshot. And then you take that screenshot and you print this chart and study it and understand it and talk to your friends about it. Share it with your children, for God's sake. They should not be handicapped not knowing this, that they have the opportunity to be whatever they want to be because they can invest in the smartest people in the world and they can benefit from their genius. Okay? That's what I want to do for you. That's what I want to do for your children. That's what I want to do for your grandchildren. Change the way you live. Accumulate wealth and then cash in on it. All right, this is Best of Us in Retirement. If you really want to get down to this, go over to Best of Us Investors. I put out a video every day where I explain where I'm putting my money to invest in my grandchildren's future. Remember the word metaverse. Remember the words genome sequencing, genome editing. These are the things that are going to change the way you live. And if you'll be educated on it, you can profit handsomely. Okay, let's make this second half of our life the best half of our life. Talk to you again soon.